Hey, what is going on YouTube? Hey, Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have a game for you guys today? This replay was captured about a month and a half ago on stream. We were doing count-ins. I had Mr. Neezer and Mr. Flustick in my division, and we actually got paired with this bot. He was actually doing his own count-in. So there are only, you guys will notice there are equal triple divisions on both teams. We also have BB63 Veteran on our team, and the enemy team has Slayer Mike. So the teams are actually balanced. 7 players that we all know are on each team. And guys, this game is what true competitive games are going to look like. Now, I'm going to be honest, this game takes a little bit to develop. It may be a little slow in the opening moments, but again, if you've watched any King of the Sea or any other tournaments that the PC World of Warships has to offer, you know that these games take a while to develop. I wanted to put this game up for a few reasons. Number one, it was a great competitive replay from both teams. Both teams have great scores. It was a lot of good fun. Number two, I wanted to put it out there because a lot of people may go out in solo and get a good game and think that they're ready for competitive, or they're a really good player. And while a lot of you are, there's a lot to learn, and these competitive games from fleets are going to be, from fleet battles, clan battles, are going to be a lot slower and require a lot more attention to detail and attention to the mini map. Here you will notice right off the bat, I sent Mr. Neezer and Flustick to the right. Why? Because Durka, Demo, and Zweek and myself are on the left here. I know, you guys all know Durka's a great player. We just saw Demo set the carrier damage record. Now, some of you may be thinking that our team is stacked with 2 community contributors, and I'm here to tell you the community contributors are not the absolute best players in the game. Durka and I are both very good. Chili is even a little bit better. And a lot of other CCs are good. But there are some other players out there that are very good. The enemy team has JX. He set the current Petro damage record. The Harasser, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've never played against him up in this match, and he was in a Montana, so I can't really judge him. And we have NASCAR and Dakota on the other team, both players who know what they're doing. We also have Mr. Nautical Sauces here, who is, I've just seen him, a few times. He's a very smart player. But basically, now we're going to move on to the strategy part of this game. Durka, I'm guessing, has RPF. He is probably going against JX, who is already in the cap. We can see that Mr. Neezer is already in the A side. And like we've talked about with Riposte, you want to get the outside caps first. Why? Because Dakota, you can see, is on the inside cap there and has the Bravo cap covered with radar. There is a lot of tactics in this game, and if you're more so of a casual player, I understand this game can be very complicated, but if you pay attention and watch these sort of games, you will yourself become a better player. But in the meantime, I'm just talking about strategy and different things like that. So what I'm doing here is I'm letting the team know I'm spot. We actually went into game chat, and you can see this gentleman here, Mr. Turk. He was not in the count-ins, but he was like, "Hey man, I've seen your videos and stuff." He was a cool guy, and I actually have to give him a lot of credit. He does not get a fantastic score, but he does his job in a battleship. You will see that a lot of players, the enemy ships, are kind of focused on the right side. They are kind of hiding behind that B cap there, but the A side is going to be the heavy side. You'll notice it's about 3.5, 4 minutes into the game, and I have not even taken a shot yet. That is because the enemy team has placed themselves so well, and they know if they miss position, they will get absolutely abused. But here we're going to move up. We can see that the C cap is constantly being contested. Now, if I'm being honest, Durka probably could have pushed a little bit sooner. There was no enemy daring or enemy ship, but those radar cruisers were in range, and Durka is playing it safe. So, just again, talking about competitive gameplay and paying attention and reading situations, right? Those radar cruisers pose a threat. Focus fire from divisions and enemy teams. You will quickly see destroyers evaporate, right? A lot of destroyer players think that, they have talent, going out in random battles and, 1v1ing. But when you get a team that knows what they're doing, focus firing, etc., you will see your health quickly disappear if you make a mistake. So Durka, like the smart player, the good player he is, he's not making a mistake. Here we have Dakota, and if you notice, we've only taken one shot for 7,000 damage, but the game, trust me guys, the game gets a lot more interesting. So we see that the other destroyer actually did move into Bravo, one of the other destroyers. So we are tied on caps, but because Mr. Neezer got that cap early, we are actually ahead. Durka is now sitting in the cap, and that is when the Shimakaze becomes detected here. And here will be a great example of what Team Focus Fire can do. We're lining up the Shima here. We do have the AP loaded. We would rather have the HE, but there's one shot, there's two shots, and there is the other destroyer. So we have both destroyers on the side. So as soon as Crispy gets in range here, he's going to radar, and that you can see the immediate impact of Team Focus Fire. This Shima was spotted for less than 60 seconds, and he is already dead. Good night. Thanks for playing. And here's an example of what competitive will be. I was caught broadside for literally 30 seconds there, and I pay for it. Now, thank goodness the Burgoon has good armor. I am able to take a few broadside shots, but I was shot by 2 ships immediately. Competitive is going to be a different beast. Now, on a side note, I will say we will have a few fleets dedicated to solo players, and I've heard a few complaints saying that, wow, this is going to ruin matchmaking, etc., and I think it's going to make it better. Number one, you're not going to be running into these teams all the time. Number two, it's going to basically force you to become a better player. I never understood the complaint, well, it's just, I just like to play for fun. Well, yeah, you can play for fun, but you still need to have an understanding of the game, right? I use the example of pickup basketball often. It's like you wouldn't go into a pickup basketball game and start kicking the basketball, would you? The same goes for Legends. You wouldn't just YOLO rush your destroyer in and say, oh, well, I had fun. Yes, maybe so, and of course we're all going to hold different opinions about that. But in the meantime, we actually finished off another one of the enemy Yamatos, and in that time, Mr. Neezer, our gearing went down. You can see that the team is kind of huddled up around A there. We've got a lot of ships on this side, and that is when I decide to push. Durka got the cap here. We can see Mr. JX was in the middle cap. The Carnot, which was actually a random, already has a Witherer. So this game is just getting started. There are 8 minutes left, and we do have 2 caps. We have a massive advantage, which is why I always recommend getting the caps, especially in domination. But there goes a Yamato, and this game is now tied up on ships. Dakota, though, is very low, and Durka is in dangerous position in radar there, so our primary target is going to be that Alaska. So Dakota, I love you, dude, but yeah, we got to get you off the board. You will also notice I do have HE loaded here. And besides, missing out on a few broadsides, HE is the smarter choice as I make a very super Unicum play bumping into demo here. But now is the point in the game where position matters, right? We have got their broadsides, and besides these two smoking up here making a bot of a play, we have the enemy trapped basically in their spawn. I will give credit to both of our destroyer players, both Durka and Neezer, for getting out, getting the spots, and getting the flanks. That is why destroyer play is so important, especially destroyer play against competent players, right? There was an Alaska, there was a Mino there, so dangerous enemy radar cruisers, potentially. We don't know if Nautical was radar or smoke. Here, I get caught a little broadside, but because of me managing my health so well, I can afford to give up a few of these plays. Now, I wouldn't recommend sailing broadside, especially in anything other than a Burgoon. But here, I'm actually trolling Nautical. If you have the target perk, which you've seen me run on a few of my American cruisers, anytime you target somebody, it gives them a little icon on your spotted icon. So I don't know if Nautical has that. But what I'm trying to do is confuse him and make him think that he's either being torpedo launched or, targeted by multiple different people, or also, just distract him a little bit. So just a little cheeky trick I've learned through playing the game, like peeking around islands. Yeah, definitely learned that from Peek. Hint, hint, wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. Check my Buffalo video from like a year ago. But anyway. I also want you guys to pay attention to the bottom left corner. Right now you can see voice comms from BB63 Veteran, who was not in our division. And what I did was I just told everyone in the game to go to team chat. So that way we all, we're not in the Xbox party, and those on PlayStation would be able to hear. And you can actually see that Pommern there, as we almost dev strike Nautical. Love you, Nautical. That Pommern was not in our game, right? He was not in the count-ins. He was just randomly in the game, but he joined in on the voice comms. And the complaint I see most often for divisions is that they have communication. Anybody can go into team chat. The communication is nothing new, right? So that is just why I truly hate the division argument. And also, just to counter that, there were 2 divisions on the enemy team. So the division argument is pretty much put to rest. It's null and void in my opinion. Here, though, the game is pretty much wrapped up, but a mistake that a lot of players make at this juncture in the game is throwing their ship away, right? Now, we do have a lot of health. Our team on the left here did a fantastic job. Zweek, set up the crossfire. Durka got the cap. Demo provided the cruiser support that the Napoli can provide. JX did all he could. The Harasser there was kind of trapped at his spawn. In the right flank, while we mentioned that random gentleman, the Palmer, in the beginning, he did all he could in holding his position, right? Sometimes you get the weak side, and the mistake that a lot of players make, if that Palmer would have just played his Palmer how he normally does, a German battle cruiser, battleship, whatever you want to call it, just YOLOing in, he probably, would have put our team down in the opening minutes. But instead, we told him, hey, man, just hold your position, do the best you can, survive as long as you can. And this is the result, right? We by holding the weak side, right? And sometimes that requires you to kite. Sometimes that requires you just to sit and literally just eat damage. It's very frustrating, but when combined with a good team, it shows you, just the when you play your role and you do your job, the results sometimes will shock you. Here at the end of this game, we're getting beautiful broadsides because of our position and our team on the right. But we actually get trolled pretty heavily here. I'm on 4 kills, and I wish I could say that I got the 5th, and I can have bragging rights over Durka. I mean, I still do, but we don't get the 5th kill. I also want to say that, and I do have a few videos coming out, we did get the win in this game, but last night I lost 2 games in divisions going against you guys. I don't win every game, and I'm obviously less likely to put up a game where I do poorly on YouTube, so just keep that in mind. Some people who don't really know me, see this as like a sign of arrogance or whatever, but when they actually get to know me, they realize I'm a pretty well-rounded, honest guy, and I've always tried to, push that through, to the community. Do I think that my knowledge of the game exceeds others in certain situations? Yes, it does. Do people disagree with me? Yes, they do. But I've always, been willing to have a conversation with people, about the game, about builds, strategies, etc. I definitely used to be a little more hot-headed, especially on stream. I still am, but I've also learned that, this game is not real life. But there's the final scoreboard. Excellent scores across, as you can see. 27 for me. Durka coming in second place, as he always does. No, a great game from him. He probably didn't have that much damage, but he got shots on destroyers, and he got caps, right? Demo in third there with 21. Mr. Flute in fourth with 2,000. Zweek in fifth with 1,900. Sandor Nieser in sixth. And our lowest score, really, is 1,200, and that's that Palmer who just sat there and tanked damage, right? And you also notice the enemy scores, 1,500 in first for JX. So again, you're not going to be seeing 4K base XP games and games like this, but just great scores across the board. Now, their team did definitely drop off. Their Shima probably let them down. I don't think he was in on the count-ins, but when you walk into a game like that and you're maybe not paying attention, you saw the focus fire, which is why a lot of Destroyer mains are going to get some wake-up calls when competitive comes around. Destroyers, while very easy to play alone in Standard, are going to be impossible to play alone in competitive. But that was just the video, guys. I will link the AWW Discord down for anyone that wants to join our clan. I'm still not sure what clan I'm going to be in, whether UFO or whatever. I might even make my own clan. I know some people don't necessarily agree with everything that other creators of the AWW clan have said or done, but I want to make this open for everyone, especially those who enjoy competitive. So that's the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Aaron out. Peace.